So today I will do an session in Excel for about 20 minutes just to show how to transpose data out. There are many reasons why you may need to transpose data in Excel or when you're doing data cleaning. In some cases, that the data you've received needs to be transposed in order to be able to view the data properly. So there are cases where that is required. And then with transposition, I will also talk about how to um, uh, um, look up data. So I'll talk about two functions, the two Excel functions. VLOOKUP, which is basically V is for vertical lookup of data. So this helps you be able to get data from one data set to another using this function. I'll also talk about, and specific for this matter, it's a specific column of the data that you require, and I'll talk about that. Then I'll talk about HLOOKUP, H standing for horizontal lookup. And in this case, what I meant is for data that has been transposed. So you'll be able to, combine two data sets using HLOOKUP. There's an advanced lookup that is fuzzy lookup, which is a function that you need to download from the Microsoft website to be able to install as a function in your Excel so that you can be able to use. So, as always, the first thing you need to do when you have a data set that you want to clean is just start by inserting table, converting that data set into table format by just selecting the whole table, Control Shift, and arrow, to select the whole row, and then Control Shift, page down arrow to go to go down to the last row. And then once you select the whole data set, you go to insert table, ensure that says your table has headers because these are the headers, that is row one. These are the headers: product ID, product name, category, unit price, stock, and supply. So this is basically a data set, for example, from a store or something like that. So yeah, so if we select the data, table has headers, that the headers in row one. And then in row one, and then you insert so that it's now in table format. So with this, you don't have to be selecting your data set anymore. Yeah. So if you want, for example, if, as I mentioned, the first thing I wanted to show you is how to freeze spans. So for example, if you want to freeze just the first row only. So you just select the first row, go to insert. No, I mean, go to view. When you go to view, there are different views here, but you go to what it says freeze pens. So you go click on freeze pens. So when you freeze pens, there are three functions there. So you can freeze rows and columns. So this is the first function that you can freeze a row and a column at the same time. You can freeze the top row. For example, in this case, you just want to freeze the top row, you click freeze top row. So that means that as I go down, if the dataset was long, the first row will always be shown. So this way you can move through your dataset and to the end, for example, and also ensure that you're able to see the top row, which is the row that has the column headers. So that is how we freeze the first. To unfreeze, I usually use Control Shift L. Yeah, Control Shift. Yes, to unfreeze, the shortcut is you just click on it. Yeah, there's no shortcut, I think, but the best thing is just go back to the first row, go to and just unfreeze pens. Click and then unfreeze pens. So this way you go back to the way the table was. Yeah. And then to freeze the first column, I think just click on the first cell there, go to freeze and then say freeze first column. And it freezes the first column. You can go to whatever, but the first column will be frozen. So this is how you unfreeze, you freeze the first column. Now I want to show you an interesting one that I usually use a lot, and I'll show you, maybe you can practice as well. I don't usually just freeze the top row or freeze the first column or the second column to that extent. Because if I want to freeze column A and B, I will put my cursor in column C, I think. Let me just show you. And then go to freeze. I have to unfreeze pens first. And then if I want to freeze just the first column and the second column, I'll click on the column that I want. The freezing is that's column A and column B. So I'll click on column C, then click on here, and then just say freeze pens. This way, it freezes column A and B, and all these other columns you can be able to move around. So you put your cursor in the next column that you don't want to freeze. So the columns I want to freeze will be A and B. Now, if the one that I like the most is where I can be able to, for example, I'm dealing with all these. The data that I want to see is the product ID and the product name, and so that if I'm moving around, I can be able to see column A and B and row one. So I'll just go back, click on, and then unfreeze pens. Now I will click on C2. If I click on C2, I'll be able to freeze column A, B, and row one. Column, you see, row one here. If I'm clicking down here, the row above, and then the two columns on the side. So I'll just go to freeze pens, and then I'll click freeze pens. This way, I've frozen the first column, and I've frozen. So can be able to see the top row and be able to see so you can see these lines here. The bold line below here, yeah, is frozen the first row, and the bold line here has frozen column A and column B. So freezing pens really helps you when you have a large data set and you want to move around it, to be able to with using your arrows. So I'm moving around the data set by just clicking on the arrows, or control down, control up, takes you to then down, control end, it takes you to the end, down, back, so that you can be able to move around your data set using control and the arrows, once you freeze pens. So I will leave my data frozen like that, so that I can be able to show you the next thing that I wanted to show you. That is how to transpose data. So in some cases, you will need to transpose a data set. So basically, transposing a data set is where you convert, you transpose it. It's like you transform the data, in the sense that the columns become rows and rows become columns. So if you want to transpose this data set, you will select the whole data set, copy, and then maybe I want to transpose it to another. I'll call this transposed. So I will come here, click on whatever I want to transpose it. So for example, here I'm putting just cell A1. I'll do Control Alt V, so that I have this paste special, and then I will click on transpose down here, transpose. You can see there, clicking on transpose, or just click T, click on transpose all values, then transpose. Oh, I usually like values, yeah, not all, but usually you select values and then you select transpose, so that it does not bring the formats with it just brings the data set. So you can see now the rows here, you can see product ID, product name, and all that, P1, P001, P002 become now the columns. Yeah. So the rows now become the columns. So this is how transposed data looks like. So just converting rows into columns, or columns into rows. If I transpose this again, control copy, control alt V, values and transpose, values and transpose. it takes it back to the format that it used to be. So this is how you can play around with the data set by transposing it. So there are many reasons for transposing data. We'll talk about those in one-on-one. If you have a data set that you're working on, we can always reach out so that we can see if your data needs to be transposed or not. But this is a function that you may require as you're doing data cleaning, in your day-to-day work. So this is how you transpose a data set. Now, I will talk about another very important element in basically data management. Whenever you have a piece of data, it is very important to have unique identifiers. Now, unique identifiers, it's up to you. For example, in many cases, a unique identifier for a person could be their national ID. If you have a data set that has national IDs, then or student IDs or product IDs, for example, in this case, then you already have unique ID for that data set. It's very important to have one. You just don't delete this. I just have product name and all that. These are not unique. And in some cases, you may need to create a unique ID. You may need to create a unique ID if your dataset does not have a unique ID. And in this case, you can combine a set of variables to be able to create an ID. Okay, in this case, perhaps we already have a unique ID, but if we didn't, then I'd have created one. Maybe in a different data set, but I would say, you might pick, for example, I just give an example. If you're talking about people, if you say using somebody's name as a unique ID, like my name is Japheth Mamburi, using Japheth Mamburi as a unique ID may not be unique because there might be another Japhet Mumburi in the data set. In this case, it's very common having people with similar names. So there's some uniqueness, but they're not totally or entirely unique. So it's very important to create something that makes this person unique. Maybe I would give an example here. Maybe let me just say name, and maybe region, for example, or village, could be village. Maybe you've collected data set with people's names and the village they come from. So you might have Japhet Momburi, another Japhet Momburi, and maybe somebody called maybe John Doe. John Doe. mm, Somebody call that. And then maybe this one is from village one. Let me just give it a name. Okay, yeah, village one. Maybe the first village one. This other one is from village two. Village two. Village two. Yeah, village two. This other one is also from village two. Yeah. Village two. And I wanted to create unique IDs. So I'll call them maybe person ID. Person ID. This is my data set. And I wanted to say, okay, let me create person ID so that I can be able to identify the people in this database uniquely. So I can use what I talked about the other day, concatenate. Or, you can say concatenate this and this. So concatenate works similarly with what I showed you the other day, but yeah. So for concatenate, I have to put, like, if I need a space, I have to put space combined, enter. So concatenate works similarly with the formula I showed you of AND. So concat is concatenate this and this combines this and this. This now is a unique ID because now this is unique with village one, village two. So I've created a unique ID using rows and data that was already there because I did not have a unique ID. So I created one. Another way is to similarly, maybe I can show you the other one, the thing I did the other day. You can also, it's the same thing. You can do is equals this and space space and this. I showed this formula the other day. It does the same thing. So you can use concatenate or you can use this formula. Just this up here, or you can use this to combine columns. And in this way, I did this specifically to create a unique ID. So just wanted to show you that. So unique IDs are very important in data management. As you're cleaning your data set, it's important to have that. And the most important reason for that is, for example, if you want to combine data sets. So I will give you an example. Okay, this is the data that I have. Imagine if I had a data with just the unique ID up to category. Maybe I had these two data sets. So I'll copy this part so that I can show you how to, the word here is lookup. I'll just use the lookup. So I'll press, okay, yes, control Z. Okay. So this is a lookup data set, and to show you how to do it with the VLOOKUP and lookup. So I'll put this data set here, Control Alt V. So this is a piece of data that I had in one. So I'll call this table 1, and then I have another table 2. For example, this table 2 only has the product ID, its price, the stock, and supplier. So for example, I have different departments with different purposes. So another department combines, yes, another department combines, yes, so I can copy this format. I can copy this format, go to home, click this brush. Click this brush. I'm just clicking this brush and then placing it just on cell A1. It copies the format here to this. So, now we can see the tables look similar. So it's just formatting. And it's another thing that I do to my tables so that they look alike. You don't have to have like different types of. So if, for example, this table was, had these, insert borders. It had nice borders like this. Yeah. So I can just say, oh, these are the borders. So I'll just say, okay, these tables are in the same length, and this one, okay, this is the format one. I'll just click on the row, select that brush, and then shift. Now I'm using like click on the left. What is it called? On the keyboard, the left side, the left keyboard, and then just brush. Place your brush above in an F there and brush throughout. You can see the brush and the plus, and then leave it. So it copies the format. This is how you can also do formatting of tables so that they look alike. Yeah. So this is another way to do this. Now, I've done the formatting and everything. Now, look, both tables have product ID, but the columns are different. This one has, it already had unit stock, unit price, stock, and supplier. This one had product ID and product. Now, imagine in this table, I want to, okay, so I want to find out, so what is the unit price of Nino. So I'll just come here and put, unit price. So I want to add unit price here, but I don't have it. It's in another table. I will not come, print this, then come start doing data entry, 75,000, all that. It takes a lot of time. So what I'll do, I will not do that. I'll just come here and say, is equals. So I'll use VLOOKUP here. So VLOOKUP looks up this ID in this table and then looks into this table, and I'll show you why it will select and bring the value of H, column H here of unit back to this table. So it is equals, so VLOOKUP. So it says lookup value. I'm looking up the unique IDs. So you have to look up unique values, unique IDs. So lookup value has to be a unique value that is in both tables. And then I'll say, okay, so the unique value is in G, but the table goes up to, I only want up to H. I can select up to the end, but I'm selecting by just clicking on the left mouse and then holding this row at the top and then dragging just placing my finger on the mouse and dragging across. Okay? So that I select G to J. I can write that physically. without necessarily doing this. But yeah, the best thing is just say, oh, G full colon, G full colon, G row G, that is column G, I mean column G. I'll put G, column G, up to, this full column shows up to column J. So it selects G to J. Yeah, it's easier to show it that way. Then comma. Then I want to look up the second. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, right? No, columns. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want it to pick 2, row 2. So I'll put 2. Yeah, so that it will look for this product ID in this table, but it will return a column H. It will return column H. So comma, and then there's two things, either exact approximate match or exact match. So for me, I usually put 0. 0 is bring the exact value that it picks there. So it matches the value that it picks there. And then I'll close that and press enter. So you can see it has picked. And then now I will just click, place my arrow there. This is what it has picked, 75,000. Now I wanted to pick for the rest. So I will place my cursor, this is the plus, the cursor is the plus one there. I'll come and place it so that I see the black plus value, that the black, and then I'll double click so that now it picks the rest of the value. So it has picked this P006 here and returned 1,000. So you can see now I've been able to, and then I'll just come here, I'll pick and just pick the format, place it there. Format brush, I use this brush a lot to ensure that it's a painter is format, say text formats and paints them in a different cell. So you can practice this and your tables will also look nicely. For if you want things to be seen, I usually put the cursor just, for example, I'm not able to see this product name properly, right? And their smartphone is not being seen and all that. So what I'll do, two things. Number one, I'll either select the whole table, Control Shift down, Control Shift, end arrow, down arrow. I'm holding Control Shift to select the whole table. And then I will come here, place my cursor there, and double click. You see, it opens up the whole thing. Now you can see product ID. So putting, you see that sign there, plus sign is black, and then you double click on it. So it opens up, it shows you where this, yeah, it's kind of opens up. Or alternatively, if there are so many values and I want to see them and they're like this, I can now select the whole table, come to home, and then use wrap text. Wrap text here, wrap text helps to you will see how it look like wrap text. So wrap text, you see what it does. So it puts the columns like table ID, product ID to create like another, yeah, so that it looks nice like that. So you're able now to view what is in the cell by wrapping text. So it wraps the text in the cell so that it becomes like a paragraph in a cell, instead of having it all go outside or be hidden. Yeah. So this is another way to ensure that you're able to view values properly. So wrapping text is also a nice thing to do. So on that now, I've shown you how to use VLOOKUP. So what usually I do, if I delete this thing, for example, if I delete this table, unfortunately this happens because it is bringing data, it becomes NA, not applicable, because the product ID is not there. So usually after, so and let's just undo so that they come back. So usually after I do this, I do VLOOKUP to ensure that this column is not affected if I do anything to this other table. I usually select the row that I've put there, control, select it, and then I do control copy, I copy, and then control alt V, and then I return values. I showed this in different, but I return values so that now these formulas, I remove the formulas, so that if I ever delete this table, for example, this whatever imported using VLOOKUP to this other table is not lost. So this is how we use VLOOKUP. In some cases, I would copy this table again. In some cases, this table was in transpose format. It has been transposed like that. In this case, I would use, and it's the same thing I want, unique price. Yeah. I wanted to collect unique price. And the table looks like this. I don't have to transpose it. I can just use H lookup now. H lookup, that is horizontal lookup. Lookup. It's the same approach. This cell, right, in now I will select the table code. I'm clicking there, selecting the table. So it has to be M1, M1 to M1 here. I see what the cursor is, M1 to S, S what? S4, S4. So I'm selecting the whole table like that. And then I will put, I want row, that is the second row that has unique price. So I'll put 2, 0. So now, interestingly, let me show you what will happen. So in this case, if I double click, you can see the next one has NA. The next one has NA. Because in the formula moves. You can see it has moved. Let's see the next one. It has moved. So for H lookup, it is very important to hold. To hold what? To hold the table so that it does not move. So I'm looking at what is moving. It's the rows. The rows 1, 2, 3, 4. The M and the S are not moving, right? So I'll come and hold, as I showed you the other time, with a dollar sign in my column. Hold dollar sign before 1 and dollar sign before 4. So that now when I press enter and double click, I will drag. Let me just remove these ones that are errors so that it's easier to show you the double click one. The dragging one is not very nice. So you've hold it with the dollar sign. So the table will not be moving downwards as the formula moves down. Now I'll double click here, so that now it shows nicely. It goes nicely that that is the case. So I'll still come and do the formats as I indicated. So this way you're able to move nicely. Finally, um, you know, and it's very common. Everybody knows. Yeah, you want to do the totals. It's just summation is equals sum. You want the total price of this and just sum others D2 to whatever. That's the total. If you want to see the maximum, the value, the product, the highest cost, you just say is equals maximum cost, maximum max, and select the row and able to see the highest cost. Yeah, so that is 75,000. So you can check, oh, laptop is the most expensive. Oh, what is the least expensive product? Just do minimum of that. So you're able to see like, oh, the lowest product is the mouse. The lowest the product, the lowest price is the mouse, which is 1,000 shillings. And then finally, you can be able to show the the average cost unit average price. You can do is equals average, and then you select the column, the whole column, and then you can see the average price is for the products that we have is 28,750. So that's the average of 75, 4,000, 5,000, 30,000, 1,500, and that. So you can always say this is total cost, total price, yeah, total maximum, highest price, highest cost, highest price, uh, lowest price. If you are required to show or to demonstrate to your supervisors, this is average price. Yeah, you want to show them what is the product with the highest price in your store, what is the product the lowest price in your store, what is the product with what is the average price in your store. So it's important to do this. Yeah, so this is just these are common areas you can do. For example, you can say another thing that probably I'm seeing here. We have products from key gear, like key gear has two. If you wanted to identify, um, okay, yeah. So my time is almost up, but it's basically if you wanted to identify products that are from Top Gear and the cost, the sum of products from this, what we sum if we can the total of cost unit price from sum, you can say this range, you sum this range, uh, sum if this range, so I'll select this range, um, is products from Top Gear, no, key gear, key gear, then sum this. So it will sum the 1500 and the 1000. So you can see it's 2500. So it has given this is I can call here maybe total uh, totals for key gear. For example, if there are certain situations where you might need to do that. So some ifs have using some and if together. Yeah. So these are some of the things you can use in your day-to-day work in your office to help you manage these kind of situations. So yeah, finally, I think I wanted to show you fuzzy, but time is up. I will show you fuzzy lookup in a different session, or we can always, let me know if you need to use this lookup. Yeah, but you need to download it and install it for. I don't have it here, but once you install it, you see it here. Yeah, thank you, and uh, see you in the next session.